Professor Michael Wesley. What do you make of this summit? Any hope of a positive outcome, do you think?
Look, I don't think, it depends who we're talking about. I think Vladimir Putin has already achieved what he wanted to, which was acknowledgement of Russia as an equal to the United States, the isolation of Ukraine, leaving the Europeans out. So he's already achieved what he wanted before talks start. I think he probably would love for Trump to agree to his demands to keep the territory in Ukraine that Russian forces have seized. What he would be hoping is that Trump would take that as the basis for a peace deal. Zelensky then rejects that peace deal, and then Trump cuts off American support for Ukraine. That would be the ideal outcome for Putin. I think Trump's objectives are much less easy to see. I think he's hoping that Putin will capitulate. I think there's very little prospect of that. And I think from an American and a Ukrainian point of view, these talks will be a waste of time.
So do you see a scenario where that Donald Trump, his patience runs out with Putin, and then he starts to pull the trigger on sanctions and significant ones? Because it's not like the Russian economy is in great health.
That's right. I mean, the one certainty with Donald Trump is his unpredictability. It is very difficult to see how he will react to how the scenario goes. I think he's got a lot of personal ego involved here. He boasted that he would end this conflict in 24 hours. It's obviously been much more difficult than that. He's on the record as saying recently, I thought this would be the easiest conflict to work out. It turns out to be the hardest. But he has, he takes pride in being a deal maker. So it's very hard to see or to predict any one way or the other how these talks will play out. How Putin, who is an experienced and crafty negotiator, will play Donald Trump is hard to see, and how Trump reacts is also difficult to see. If anything, I think here Putin will try and avoid frustrating Trump, so he does exactly what you said, and that is increase sanctions against Russia.
Yeah, which would be very interesting to see that ratchet up. And the thing that I guess Donald Trump underestimated, certainly Putin did, and that is the cards that Ukraine has. They do have cards. They're using them, whether it be through the high-tech drones and electronic warfare or through their really tough battle units that are holding up and pushing Russia back.
Exactly right. And I would say that Ukraine also has diplomatic cards. I mean, it's customary for Trump to dismiss the support that Ukraine is getting from Europe and countries like Australia and Canada. But these are not insignificant either diplomatically or materially to Ukraine. And I think that's an important consideration. It's not that Russia and the United States holds all the cards here.
Let's talk about the Palestine recognition. What do you make of the reaction and the week that's been since the Prime Minister made the announcement off the back of moves by France, Canada and the UK?
Oh, look, I think the reactions have been relatively predictable. I think the fact that Israel and the United States have been strongly opposed and strongly critical, and that there has been support for it in the Arab world, I think is relatively predictable. I'm sceptical about whether preemptive recognition is going to put very much pressure on for a two-state solution. I think there are so many obstacles in the way of ensuring a Palestinian state is not controlled by a terrorist organisation. I think the interesting development here, Kieran, is the pressure that the Arab states are putting on Hamas. And we'll see where that goes. But I think it's all relatively predictable so far.
Yeah, indeed. And on both sides, you've got those sort of structural challenges, like you point out. How do you prevent a terrorist group or those with those sympathies having power on the one hand, and then the ultra-nationalist settler push on the Israeli side with the finance minister, a settler himself, announcing a new project that cuts off the West Bank from East Jerusalem?
Indeed, and I think from those elements within Israel to do anything they can to prevent a two-state solution, to create conditions on the ground to prevent that happening as well. I think, if anything, Kieran, the ongoing conflict has further entrenched Hamas in Gaza. I think what we don't see is the utter terror that it inflicts on the people of Gaza, and I think that is a very big obstacle, I think, to Palestinian statehood.
Deputy Vice-Chancellor International at the University of Melbourne, Professor Michael Wesley, thank you as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Kieran.